Okay, well, what a story. Going from being crippled to,
And on the verge of bankruptcy.
yeah, I was gonna say on the
Yeah,
verge of bankruptcy to being a seller. And of course, the advantages of being a reseller, the way you had it, is instant revenue, right? Because there is
correct.
already a listing, you don't have to do anything. And the way
Well,
you did it,
we built the listings on these ones in this case.
I see.
Yeah.
But they
So
had already recognition, so they there was demand already, awareness, I should say, which
yeah,
translates.
yeah, they just weren't on Amazon. Like, we've been selling the product that we're selling now, this brand, for, gosh, must be nearly 10 years now, somewhere between 8 and 10 years. So at this time, they weren't even on Amazon. And I approached them. It was just a phone call to the CEO. I said, hey, this is what I do. This is what I'm offering. I want a consignment. I want exclusivity. We'll pay you when it sells. What do you think? He said, yeah, cool. Let's try it. So I flew out there. He met me to make sure I was a real person. And then we got started.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the negative reviews. So
Do it.
walk us through how somebody goes about doing this, and then tell us about the principles behind it. Would you be able to remove these reviews that are left by
Cool.
users?
So let's start off with what constitutes a negative review that can be removed. There's basically two different categories. There's fraudulent reviews, and then there's reviews that just violate the community guidelines, right? And so we'll start with community guidelines. Basically, what you do in order to locate reviews that are in violation of community guidelines is you need to read and really understand the community guidelines and what actually is a violation. Just remember, your opinions and feelings on your own product don't matter to Amazon at all, right? In fact, and look, I'm guilty of this myself. Like during COVID, when our sales were just going through the roof, Amazon shut down all 4 of my Seller Central accounts, no notifications. I sent some fairly heated emails to them, and it had zero impact, zero. So uh, keep your emotion out of it, but understand the community guidelines and be factual in what you're telling Amazon. So that's number one. And I tell you, I couldn't even tell you how many times I've read the community guidelines and I still find things where, like, oh man, I missed that. Right. So again, when you are working with Amazon, you have to be as factual as you can and to the point, but as concise as possible as it can possibly be made, because nobody at Amazon wants to read a book. I think we all remember the time when we were getting cases just resolved with no responses, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That's because Amazon went out and hired a whole new team outside of the US, and they were graded based on how many cases they'd resolved, not whether they had solved them, but marked as resolved. So you just had a bunch of people clicking resolve, 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 resolve. Found that out recently. So, the main thing is, backing it up, be as concise as possible, as factual as possible, and you'll have a better chance of getting a response if you do get one, right?